Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. Okay, Councillor Carswell, can I hand over to you?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We're here today for a licensing subcommittee. Welcome to everybody. I'd be grateful if you all keep your cameras on. Sometimes in meetings we say turn them off, but in this case, can we keep them on just so that we can be aware that we're all here and all paying attention? The subcommittee takes the form of we have a chair and we have two other members of the council. Everybody gets a chance to put their case and also have questions asked of them about what they might say. I will start off. Stephanie, you're looking like I should be saying something I haven't said already. No, okay. And if you could put your phones to silent. I know we're in a virtual meeting, but it's still annoying if phones go off. So if you could put your phones to silent, that'd be brilliant. We'll start off with appointment of the chair. Have we a nomination for chair?
Propose you, Simon Carswell, as our chair. Martin Orr.
And I propose, and I second you, Simon.
Thank you, Marcus. All in favour? Let's do a show of hands. Super. Thank you very much. Okay. Any apologies for absence?
None received, Chair.
Thank you. Any declarations of interest? Okay, I've already basically explained the format, but we'll just go around and introduce ourselves. So if everybody could do that, I'll start with myself. My name is Simon Carswell. I'm the Somerset Councillor for Street. Martin.
Yes, Martin Lovell, and I'm the Somerset Councillor for Shepton Mallet. Thank you.
Marcus.
I'm Marcus Bart, and I'm Councillor for Wellington and Rockwell Green.
Rachel.
I'm Rachel Lloyd. I'm the licensing officer.
Thank you. Anne.
Anne Chiswick, the legal advisor.
Stephanie.
I'm Stephanie Gold, Democratic Services Officer.
Thank you. David.
Good morning. I'm David Hall. I'm the chairman of Kingsbury Episcopi Parish Council.
Your camera seems to have frozen, David. Your lips weren't moving, but we know you're there.
It's moving at my end, Simon.
Okay. Okay. Chris.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chris Laurie, and I'm one of the directors of New Cross Arts CIC and representing the premises applicant as well today.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So we'll get started. If I can ask the licensing officer just to present the report, please.
Thank you. So we've received an application for the grant of a premises licence for the sale of alcohol at New Cross Arts Centre. During the consultation period, we received a representation from Kingsbury Episcopi Parish Council, and in the representation they raised concerns to do with noise from events and cars leaving and arriving at the premises, antisocial behaviour, issues to do with sort of like parking at the premises, and concerns that people attending the premises may park in resident spaces which could cause issues, lack of footpaths, so safe walking routes, lack of public transport, leading to sort of like concerns about how people might be arriving and leaving the premises, and concerns about children being exposed to inappropriate environments. When the applicant was made aware of the representation, they provided a response to this, which they provided a safeguarding policy, information about kind of checks they'd carried out to assess noise from the premises and how this may affect neighbours, also information to do with events and they're pre-booked and they will so they're aware of how many people will be attending. They've mentioned that they are aware of one neighbour who could be affected by parking, and they've agreed to keep them informed of events. And in addition to this, they don't intend to sell alcohol on a daily.
You've disappeared a bit there, Rachel.
Rachel, yes. Rachel, you've frozen.
Here's slight banging going on.
Yes, sorry, Chair. We'll better give Rachel a minute.
Where is Rachel? In Yeovil or in Taunton or?
I think Yeovil.
She is the
Okay.
Oval Office. She's normally in the office.
It looks like she's in the office as well because
Oh.
she's got the landlord on. There you are.
Yeah, so I'm sorry about that. Yeah, no, I am in the office and my Wi-Fi sort of has dropped out. I was just dialing in actually as well, just so I could join at least on audio. So I'm sorry about that. If I just go back to kind of where I kind of thought it dropped out, it was I was just mentioning the information that the applicants provided in response to the representation. So they've kind of, this is all in the report and in the appendices as well, but just to kind of briefly mention that I think the event alcohol, they don't intend to sell alcohol on a daily basis, and it would just be at events which they estimate there'll be 2 to 4 daytime and evening events per month. One of the points raised in the representation is that in part of the application they've mentioned music at the premises, but music doesn't form part of the timings for the licensable activities. So I just wanted to explain that if the application for the sale of alcohol is granted, then there would be an automatic entitlement for live and recorded music at the premises when it's open for the sale of alcohol. So if the application is granted as applied for, this would be between 10 a.m. and 9:30 at night. The base of the exemption is that during the times it's effective, that the live and recorded music isn't a licensable activity. However, there are kind of like safeguards in place there that if the operation of music at the premises is causing a problem, it would be possible to kind of review the application, and the applicant, the license holder would then be a licensable activity. So it wouldn't be kind of an entitlement to kind of like cause nuisance and things like that. There are safeguards in place. And finally, just to mention that we're satisfied that the advertising requirements have been met in terms of publication of notices and display at the premises. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Before I go on to my fellow councillors, can I just ask, did the parish council respond to the response from the I slipped my mind, from the cafe?
I can't. I'm not sure if they did, but then because of the if they'd responded sort of after the agenda had been published, we would ask them to present that at the hearing to avoid kind of information going backwards and forwards when obviously the hearing's sort of like there to discuss those issues. Thank you.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you very much. Marcus, did you have any questions for the licensing officer?
Yeah, if you don't mind. I don't know if it's the right place to ask it, but I'm going to ask it. If they were not granted a license, because that's what we determined, those functions will still go ahead. So you still have the same amount of traffic, you still have the same noise, you'd have the same problems. So why would it, what I'm trying to get at is, if we do or don't, it's still going to be the same problems if we do or we don't, isn't it? If they still have their functions. Does that make any sense, or does that not make any sense? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, the operation of the premises without the sale of alcohol doesn't require kind of a license permission to do that. So yeah, potentially they could carry on as they were. The only thing is obviously they wouldn't be allowed to sell alcohol. There is also the option that they could apply for temporary event notices, but these are limited to, I think, 15 per year. So it wouldn't cover kind of like all the events that they're planning if they want to have 2 to 4 events per month, but it would cover some of those events.
That's what I'm trying to make it.
Yeah.
If they didn't have the alcohol license, they could just carry on without any alcohol, but it would still cause the same issues by having a license. So I don't see. I don't understand it, but I'll get it. I'll listen to what everybody's got to say. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. Martin, do you have a question?
No questions from you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions for the licensing officer specifically? David? You can nod if you like, David, if it's a...
Nothing for the licensing officer. Thank you, Chairman. No.
Thank you, Chris. No, okay. Anybody else? I'm looking round. No, okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll now ask the applicant, Chris, if you'd like to present your case. So feel free.
I'm conscious of the time that everyone's giving up here today. I'm working on the assumption that everyone's read through the response to Kingsbury Episcopi Parish Council, which has got all the detail in there. But essentially, the CIC was set up in August to offer soft work experience to people with learning disabilities, and this licensing application is for fundraising, so we can sell alcohol at fundraising activities. So it's going to be pre-planned, pre-booked small events like tapas and wine, or afternoon tea with fizz or something. So we've applied for the off sales with that because we'll be pairing local produce with alcohol, and if people like what they have there, then they've also got the opportunity to take home whatever they've got left over, or to buy additional produce and take it with them. I believe that we've responded to the parish council's concerns in full. We've got a very robust set of policies, and we work in conjunction with both residents' associations on either side of the building, and we have done from the very start. So we've also got representation on the board from one of the residents that acts as a spokesperson for them. So even in our day-to-day activities, we are involving the residents, because as Councillor Barr says, the disruption has the potential to be there all the time anyway. So we brought them in from the beginning before we even started to make sure that they knew what we were doing and we could allay any concerns with them. And that's the main thing. We're trying to fit into the area, not cause a nuisance. And the alcohol license application is there to try and help us run small events that will enable us to fundraise.
Okay, thank you, Chris. We'll now go to questions from the subcommittee. Can I just ask Chris, just for a bit of background, how many people you have working there? I'll say employed, but they may not all be actually employed, and the maximum numbers you're planning to have for events.
The numbers employed, they don't work together all the time, but they're generally 2 supportees and 1 or 2 support workers or volunteers running at any time, because the kitchen's not big enough to fit any more in, and with them having learning disabilities, we're trying to create a soft environment where they're generally gradually exposed to the public. It's one of the reasons why we chose somewhere that was a bit more out of the way, so it wasn't going to be too overwhelming. The numbers for events would be somewhere in the region of 20 to 30. Any more than 30 would cause a problem for us from a fire perspective, and also from a overwhelming perspective for anyone that was there working.
Thank you very much. I'll go to Martin first this time. Martin, any questions?
No question from me, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcus, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Just one, if you don't mind. I know South Petherton's demographic is quite an elderly demographic. Ages of these people attending groups are not going to be, I don't know, so that's why I'm asking the question. What age groups are they because South Petherton is quite an elderly population. If you put 30 young kids in there and they're leaving and they're causing trouble, that's my concern.
Oh, the events would be tailored for the residents, so there'd be things that would
okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're finding at the moment that the customer base is somewhere between 50 and 80 plus, and that's who we'd engineer the events for. We don't want anyone else in, you cater for the people around you.
Yeah, I didn't want 30 18-year-olds turning up and then leaving because they can't drive, and then no, that's fine. Brilliant. No. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. Do any of the officers have any questions of the applicant? No. David, do you have any questions of the applicant?
I don't have a question, Chairman. I do have a comment or some words of explanation, if that's appropriate. You can either know whenever.
You can do that. You're going to have your chance in a second, so you may want to do it then if you like.
I'll do it then, Chairman. I have
Okay.
no questions for Chris. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chris. Okay. We normally now go on to responsible authorities, but we know that no responsible authorities have objected, and the police have come to an agreement with the applicant as regarding conditions. So now we'll go on to other persons, which is you, David. So if you can present your case, and also you can state what you're going to state a second ago. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman. I'm not going to repeat what we put in our letter of objection, but what I would like to explain to members is that, as I'm sure they're aware, the Parish Council has a very limited window of opportunity when they get together to discuss applications such as this. And those applications, therefore, it's our duty to judge the applications on what's actually submitted, rather than what's explained after the event or stated by the applicant or changed after the event. And I'm very much afraid that naivety of the process or lack of the right professional advice in preparing the application isn't really an excuse for not consulting the Parish Council and not going through the appropriate process. The location in question is a rural location, a semi-residential, it's mainly a residential location. And I note from what Chris has submitted that whilst there are at least one letter of support from local residents, the Parish Council have received a number of objections from other residents, really based around the scope of this application in its current form. So in closing, what I would say is that whilst we've no wish to be killjoys in this situation, we have to judge an application on its merits, and it's the opinion of the Parish Council that this application is too broad in its scope, and in its current scope, it will be totally inappropriate for the location that's intended. And that is the reason for our objection. We believe if the applicant wishes to continue, the application should be withdrawn and resubmitted, actually stating very clearly what it is he intends to do up there at New Cross. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, David. Sorry, I didn't say can I use first names, but I'm doing so anyway. But thank you, David, for your time. Anne, did you want to comment on something David said there?
No, it might be better for Rachel. Do you mean about whether consulting the Parish Council? Is that the bit? Oh, you're on mute. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes, Rachel, can
yes.
you? I
Rachel,
mean,
do
I
you want to
believe they
comment on
don't have to. They're not one of the responsible authorities, so they don't have to consult. But there are obviously they are aware of it because of the it's in the papers, So yeah, Rachel, do you want to comment on that? Might be better.
Yeah, I mean, we do notify the division members for where the premise is located and the sort of like parish council. But yeah, I appreciate with obviously with the parish councils with like meeting times and things like that, then obviously things can kind of I can understand why it may not seem like there's kind of sufficient time to consider the application during the 28-day consultation period, as we've sort of seen from other sort of parish councils been in similar positions where they've kind of they've had a meeting, agreed to kind of make a representation, but then when additional information's been provided or points have been clarified, there hasn't then been the opportunity to go back and sort of like consider that separately if that's what the parish council kind of intends to do. But yeah, with the 28-day consultation period, that is kind of set by the Licensing Act, so we can't kind of offer like an extension to that, unfortunately.
May I come back on that very briefly, Simon?
Yes, David, come on.
I'd just like to point out that we are a small, friendly community who are very open to informal consultation or discussions, particularly in an application such as this, which is obviously very important and has the potential to affect a significant number of members of the community. I'm also very disappointed that our divisional councillor, Councillor Stanton, was present at the Parish Council meeting when this was discussed, fully supported our position, and then chose after the event to consult with, I believe, the applicant, and then changed his position, which didn't go very well with the parish council at all. Thank you.
And I'm assuming, David, that you only meet once a month.
We do.
Yeah. So if the timings don't work out, it can leave you very little time to consider things.
They don't, Chairman. We are very flexible, as I say, but in terms of formal consultation, the window is very small, and we have to take a position based on what's submitted to us.
Okay, thank you very much. Marcus, did you have any questions of David?
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Martin?
Yes, Chair. Right, just for clarification, David, could we be absolutely clear what you're bringing, the concerns you're bringing to us now, which you do not feel that the response from the applicant has covered? Thank you.
We feel that the application in its current form is too broad, Martin. The issues such as traffic, parking, antisocial behaviour may indeed not be Chris's intention in his application, but they have the potential to exist if the application is granted in its current form. And our firm position would be that if the applicant wishes to go ahead, this application should be withdrawn. He should consult informally with the parish council and then resubmit, actually applying for what he intends to do up there.
Okay, is that all right, Martin?
But I've seen in the papers that he has been very specific about what he's applied for. So it's a question of where do you feel there are other things which are not covered by that? I mean, obviously you do, but can we be absolutely clear what that is?
I'm not entirely clear what you're asking, Martin, but what we're suggesting is that the applicant should be a lot clearer on what sort of, in the actual application itself, what he intends the application to cover, what the limitations are on numbering, on numbers, what specific controls have been introduced on traffic and parking and road safety, etc. As it stands at the moment, the application is very loose. And whilst I absolutely accept in good faith that Chris is speaking in good faith about what they're applying for, you know, we don't, as a parish council, we don't know that the applicant will always be the person, the license holder or the operator of this particular facility. So we feel it's too loose, too flexible in its current form, and for its rural location, its rural residential location, it needs to be much tighter and much more constrained.
Thank you, Chair. That's answered my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Do any officers have any questions of David? No, thank you very much. Thank you, David. Right,
Thank you,
now we
Chairman.
go. Thank you. Now we go on to the summing up, and to sum up, we go first to David. If you want to sum up, David.
Well, I think I've pretty much summed up
Yeah.
with what I've said.
You don't have to
Chairman,
say anything else.
I don't want to overstate it, so I'll leave it at that.
No point in talking just for the sake of talking.
No.
Does the applicant wish, Chris, do you wish to sum up?
Yes, thank you. Briefly, I'd just like to point out that we, even though we have come to this from a naive perspective, we have followed the application guidelines that were on the Somerset Council website, and none of that stated that we needed to approach the parish council first. Now, I apologise if that's caused somewhat of a putting someone's nose out of joint, because that's what it feels like. But I do believe that we've responded to every point that's been made, and that the concerns are perhaps not realistic. Very happy to add any conditions into the licence as stated, but I do not want to withdraw this application and reset it, apart from the fact that it's going to cost us a huge amount of money, and we haven't got a lot of money to do that. So I would continue to want to work with parish council on this, putting any conditions in or just working on a forward basis, but we can't withdraw this. It's just an absolute waste of money. But thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, can I ask the licensing officer just to sum up, please?
I just a general reminder to consider the points in section 2 of the report to do with the consideration of the application and the representation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Right, the process is now we will retire to consider the application and to come to a decision. I would suggest that we reconvene. You don't have to come back, David or Chris, but you may want to, in half an hour. So shall we say at 11 o'clock, by which time we should be able to give you a decision. A written decision will be made within 5 working days, and a right of appeal to the local magistrates court is available within 21 working days, I believe. Thank you all for attending. We'll reconvene in roughly half an hour. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming back. I'll keep this quite brief. Thank you all for a good meeting and for everybody being civil and polite. That's fantastic. They usually are. We occasionally get it kicking off, but not very often. But thank you anyway. Having considered the application carefully, we have decided that the application is not against the licensing objectives, and therefore is granted without further conditions apart from those agreed with the police. A full written decision will be made within 5 working days, written decision, and appeal within 21 days at the local magistrates court. That's basically it. It's very brief, but thank you all for attending today, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.